Hi everyone, Cendril89 here, and welcome to my opinions and analysis for the Ubisoft 2016 E3 presser. And let me tell you, it was so Ubisoft. A lot of cussing, a lot of just craziness, and their opening, I couldn't help but like it. Even though I was just staring in wonder, trying to figure out what is going on. It has to probably be the goofiest opening I have ever seen at a press conference. Now, I mean, there's probably some people that are like, back in 93 when this happened. Okay, fine. But, I don't remember that far back. But in recent memory, I was trying to figure out what was going on. It was just, what? It was just so goofy and random. And to find out, it was Just Dance 2017. So then it all made sense afterwards. But while watching it, I had no clue what was going on. It was such an Ubisoft way to open a press conference. So there's that. Aisha Tyler was hosting again. And I don't know. I like her as a host. Some people don't. Some people just make fun of her or whatever. I don't know. I think she's a pretty successful host for the thing. I think she's pretty good. The big news for Just Dance 2017 was that it was coming to all consoles. And when I say all consoles, I mean all. That includes the new Nintendo NX, which I still don't know really anything on. But they said that it was coming to the NX. So that's the first kind of title we've heard for everybody, including the NX. Very interesting. After that, Ubisoft dived into Ghost Recon Wildlands, which launches March 7th, 2017. And I have a few friends that are really excited for Wildlands. So we will talk about that now. The setting we found out is in Bolivia, in this kind of alternate universe type thing of Bolivia, where a drug lord, this Mexican drug lord, I can't remember his name, I apologize, basically took over the entire country and has turned it into just one big drug cartel state. They said that Ghost Recon Wildlands is going to have single player and co-op, although this game looks like it would be way more fun to play with co-op, from what I have seen so far. The big thing that they pushed, not only this E3, but last E3, when they first announced Wildlands, was that you tackle the objectives your way. You can go in loud, you can go in with a vehicle, you could try to stealth it. You tackle the objectives how you want to. The HUD, I have to say, because they showed off some gameplay, the HUD was very minimal, which is a trend that is going on in first-person shooters. But I'll get into more of that at the end of this set of videos. But there was a minimal HUD. There was a helicopter that players were actually able to get in and fly. I saw different types of guns. There was a sniper rifle, pistols, assault rifles, LMGs. And they had a sniper on a hill sniping people, and somebody with a pistol silenced that was talking quite a bit walked through. This is a very serious shooter from what I saw. What do I mean by that? It's serious in the story, very little joking around from what I have seen so far. It's a very serious story. The characters are serious, and the pistol, I don't know if this is how it's going to be in the actual game, but just one in the chest. One shot in the chest and that was down. I don't know how many shots you'll be able to take, too, in that regard then. I don't know, it just seemed like a very, not necessarily realistic, but more realistic than some other shooters that are coming out now, like your Titanfall 2 and some other stuff, which are set more in the kind of the future. This was kind of set in an alternate universe type now, with today's weaponry and today's resources. That's what it felt like to me. And just got a very serious tone about it. It looked good. Would be excited to play it with friends. Single player, probably fun still, but I think this is... You want to co-op this one. And I think it'd be much more fun to tackle these missions with friends. After that, you've got December 6th. This game comes out. Didn't think there was going to be a sequel, even though a lot of people liked the first one. Showed off South Park, The Fractured But Whole. So funny. So it's a new South Park game. If you didn't play The Stick of Truth, it's South Park humor. So if you're not into that at all, then this won't be... You won't be into this at all. But that's going to be the main selling part for this, is all the South Park humor. Period. And that's going to be the main selling point. It'll be funny. You know, if you like South Park, you should play it because it'll be really funny. But you have to have a game too, right? There are some gameplay choices that they made, that they show off, that could make it a better game. Class choices. You pick a class, just like you did in the other one. But it looks like these are much more fleshed out. The movement in combat has like a grid style where you can push it like a, you move on a grid. And you can push enemies into obstacles. You can pull enemies, but they have those kind of abilities too. Some abilities, push enemy squares back or move them. So it's got some more tactical to it. There's a turn order as well. So, when your characters are going. There's it looks like they made some vast improvements on the gameplay side of the combat side of South Park. It kind of looks like they took the stuff that made the first game really funny, which is that South Park humor. Or really successful, I should say. Not really funny. But a lot of people find it really funny. That made the first game so successful. Took those parts and then revamped the parts that people suggested they update. Either complained about or said, this game would have been perfect if this. And it looks like they listened. So that comes out December 6th. The trailer at the beginning, I thought I was looking at like a Tom Clancy game or something. Like it had this super serious trailer, and then like South Park showed up, and I couldn't stop laughing. Just the juxtaposition there. It was well done. So again, if you're a fan of South Park and that kind of humor, you're definitely going to want to pick this game up because it looks like it has that same South Park type humor that a lot of people like, but with gameplay improvements. So there's that. Afterwards, they talked about The Division Underground, which I talked a little bit about in the Microsoft press conference because it was there, but they went more in depth here at the Ubisoft press conference. So they did talk about Underground, that DLC. They talked about you get these 3 free outfits if you're part of Ubisoft Club. Woo, free outfits. That's a thing in The Division. But the thing that stuck out to me was, and they pushed this really hard, was that they have, quote, a long-term commitment, unquote. Which makes that sound like Destiny to me, which I'm excited for this game. Because I like The Division, but I really don't play it anymore just because there's nothing I really want to do. I reached max level, I got the skills that I want. My equipment's not great, but it's good, and I play when friends are on, and that's about it. And that's how I was with Destiny, too. I got through the story of Destiny, and it's like, okay, now what? And I was done with it, because I'm not much of a raid person or anything like that. Mainly because I have terrible luck in raids. But they talked about this long-term commitment, which Destiny, had a terrible rocky start. A lot of people, had the same experience I did, and a lot of people left the game. And then Destiny kind of reinvented itself, and now a lot of people play it again. And that sounds like that's what they're going to do with The Division. It's going to eventually, they'll add more stuff to it. They'll reinvent the stuff that doesn't work. If they stick with this long-term commitment that they just said, I think The Division could be a great game, like a year down the road if they keep adding stuff and keep improving. Just like Destiny did. I really believe that. And I think Ubisoft can really turn around and make it really good. Ubisoft is really good about that. One thing the company does as a whole really good are sequel type things. When they figure out, okay, this worked, this didn't work, okay, let's do this instead. And then the second game or the new entry ends up being really, really good. And I think that could happen with The Division too. It's like, okay, we keep these parts, we revamp this, add in new DLC, and see how that works. And I think it'll work really well. They also talked about something that was not talked about in the Microsoft press conference, which was a sneak peek at the second expansion after Underground. And it's called Survival. And that opens up all kinds of possibilities. Like, the way it sounded was you're going to have to find food, you're going to have to find water, shelter to sleep. It's a survival game. And if that's what it turns into, I think that's going to appeal to a lot of people. So, that's all they showed. They just showed like a little trailer. So it's hard to say exactly what all is going to be in that survival DLC. More later. Whenever they start talking about that. Not more for me later, but more from Ubisoft later on that. They kept pretty tight-lipped about it. After that, they went into some VR. And this is, like I said, this is going to be a trend for this E3. Ubisoft goes into some VR. Working with the Oculus, and it also said all the other VR sets as well. This fall, there's going to be a game called Eagle Flight VR. And they showed off a demo. And I don't know if this is, it's probably not the whole game, but what they do have is PvP. And it was like capture the flag, except you're playing as an eagle, so it was capture the rabbit. And you had to like take the rabbit back to your nest. It looked like it was 3v3. And they look around with VR, trying to find, and that's their point of view, is like first person looking from the eagle, and so they're looking around, trying to see other players, and they had like a projectile attack, like a sonic projectile attack, and you shoot down, the other eagles, and it was, capture the flag, except with VR and you're flying around as an eagle. It actually looked pretty neat. I think it could be fun. The thing that really got me was the next VR game, which was a Star Trek VR game called Star Trek Bridge Crew. And they actually had a few, from the little trailer that they showed. They showed like a trailer for the game. And just some reactions and stuff. They had 3 people from Star Trek. And then the 4th person was the dev. And they had, I can't remember who else they had. The one person that I marked down they had was LeVar Burton. And if you don't know who he is, he played Geordi LaForge on Star Trek The Next Generation. A Star Trek that I used to watch a ton with my dad. And he killed it. It was so good. They were all having a fun time, and like he was just like himself, right? He wasn't Geordi LaForge. There are 4 different roles in this game. There's Captain, Engineer, Pilot, and Tactical. And all the game is like pushing buttons like on the console. But that's what Star Trek does a lot, right? They like sit at the consoles on the bridge and push the buttons. But it could still be a lot of fun because it was a lot of teamwork. Kind of like Sea of Pirates if you watched my Microsoft E3 video, which was the one right before this one. If you haven't, you should check it out. But they had to work together. And they were all just, like having fun or whatever. And they were still having fun. But when LeVar Burton, Geordi LaForge was the engineer. He was the chief engineer on the Enterprise in Next Generation. And when he had the engineer role, he like slipped back into character. He like slipped back into Geordie LaForge they showed, and it was so cool. It was like just seeing the character there, like for real. He just slipped right back into the role, and it was so cool. I can't tell you how cool it was if you're not a fan of the show. If you are a fan of the show, it was so cool. Fall 2016, that comes out. Look like it could be a ton of fun to play with friends if you have 4 friends that have VR. Which, no chance of me doing that. Again, I can't afford VR. But there's there's some fun. I think that could be quite a bit of fun. Even though you're just kind of like pushing buttons like on the panel. And that seems to be... They didn't show, a ton of the gameplay. They just showed like the panel. And you have to like raise the shields or lower the shields and manage the energy output. And it was... like a Star Trek, being on a Star Trek bridge. And I don't know, I just found the whole premise really cool. If you're playing the Star Trek VR game with your friends and you don't know what's going to pop up, the pilot has to pilot things around and not get hit. And the captain has to give orders and make sure everything is going right. I don't know, especially for Star Trek fans, it could be a ton of fun to play. Especially with friends. That is totally a friend game. You have 4 friends that or you and 3 other friends that like Star Trek, have VR headsets, and you're looking for a VR game, that could be the VR game for you. For sure. And just be a ton of fun. And just, role play or don't role play, and just have fun with it. After that is a game that I'm looking forward to. And it's For Honor. And the person that comes out and talks about the game, Jason Vanderbo, is so good. He tells a story, man. He looks like a Viking. He did it last year as well, and I was just like, he is cool. I would just like to meet him. And he gets into he just gets into this voice and he sells it, man. It's so good. If you haven't seen it, go watch. Go watch the For Honor part where he's just does the intro to the game before they show the game off. He just does such a good job. So cool. They talked about campaign. Showed off some gameplay for For Honor. If you don't know For Honor, it's kind of hack and slashy until you go up to an officer, and then you get into this combat, one-on-one duel style mode. While a whole bunch of stuff is still going on around you. But it's a lot about blocking and kind of reading your opponent. Because you can block up, left, or right. I think. There may be down as well. But you have to choose the way you're blocking. And it's all real time. This isn't turn-based. So if you see an enemy swinging from the right, you have to block right. And maybe that opens up an opening for you to hit your enemy. It's a lot of that. It's a lot of strategic, swinging back and forth. I don't know. I think it's a cool idea. I don't know exactly how it's going to play when you actually get it in your hands and all this stuff is going on. I think it could be cool. I'm hoping it is. But that's about all I have for Honor. The one thing that I laughed at, and a lot of people laughed at, was that the release date is Valentine's Day. What way to say, I love you than For Honor, where you go and play as a samurai, a Viking, or a knight and slaughter people. Happy Valentine's Day! So, if you don't know anything about For Honor, look it up. I'm interested in it. I really am, and I want it to be really good just because I like the idea of that sword play. Or, just hand-to-hand combat play, because you don't necessarily have to use a sword. Be using an axe or a mace. But just that idea. I want this game to be good. We'll see how it all ends up. After that, they showed off a few quick things. They showed off Grow Up, which is the sequel to Grow Home. If you played Grow Home, Bud, the character, is back, and now he's growing up. You're trying to go up, but also growing up. Haha, clever. That comes out in August. They didn't show too much about it. I fully suspect it's going to be kind of the same gameplay as Grow Home, except you're going to go up. After that, they showed off something. Like, it was, again, another quintessential Ubisoft moment. And it's like, what am I watching right now? And then it finally showed off. It was Trials of the Blood Dragon. It's Trials gameplay in, like, the setting of Far Cry Blood Dragon. Like, this 80s Saturday morning cartoon type setting, I guess? I don't know. All I have to say is, okay. Like, check it out for yourself if you're a Trials fan. I guess. That's that's all I really have to say about it. I couldn't really wrap my head around what was going on. So, yeah, if you're a fan of Trials, take a look at it. Because it's a new Trials type thing. So, moving on. They also interviewed, right after that, they interviewed the director of the Assassin's Creed movie. For those of you that don't know, there is no Assassin's Creed game this year, which is a good thing. They need to take a break from the franchise and let it rest at least a year, because it was getting overplayed, and they just weren't making that many improvements, except for maybe the last one they did, but there's just so much fatigue with the franchise, because you just did year after year after year, and they need a break. But the Assassin's Creed movie is coming out, which, from the previews I've seen, looks like it could be good. I'm hoping it's good. And so they interviewed the director, talked a little bit about the movie. Comes out December 21st. If you want to see the new kind of extended trailer that they showed, you can look it up and see what you think about it. So they did that, talked to him for several minutes, showed off a couple of trailers and things like that, which doesn't shock me. I fully expected them to talk about the Assassin's Creed movie, because no Assassin's Creed game. After that, make sure this is the... No, not the end. After that, they showed off Watch Dogs 2. The first Watch Dogs met with mixed reviews, I would say. Mixed success. I wanted to really like Watch Dogs and ended up not liking it that much. So, they are coming out with Watch Dogs 2, which comes out November 15th. This looks like a vast improvement on the first Watch Dogs, from what little they've shown. It just, the whole feeling of it, I think is better. It's more energetic, you know, kind of like Aiden Pierce. Like, I wanted to like Aiden Pierce as a character. Well, at least, you know, kind of respect him as a protagonist. And, I don't know, he was just kind of brooding the whole time, which doesn't really fit the game, because it's a lot about hacking. I don't know, it just didn't feel like that meshed well. Whereas, here, with Marcus is his name, he's our new protagonist. He's a younger guy, you know, moves faster, just more energetic. Like, there's just more to his character, it seems like. They showed off some gameplay, and it kind of looked like Watch Dogs, except improved. You know, so it still you know, felt like a Watch Dogs game, like not everything was scrapped. But it looked like that they improved the improved like the combat and stuff somewhat. But the biggest thing that I saw from Watch Dogs 2 was that I definitely want to play it, because this one really interests me much more, and it just has a better style about it. I think the style just fits, that they're going for, just fits Watch Dogs 2 better. Check it out if you don't know anything about Watch Dogs. Just be warned, there is some cussing in there as well, because Ubisoft game. Not necessarily because it's an Ubisoft game, but just it's a rated mature game. But this one interests me quite a bit, because like I said, I was really hyped up for the first Watch Dogs, and I wanted it to be good, just because the gameplay looks so interesting, and it didn't quite deliver for me either. I'm one of those that it just didn't really It was okay. Best way I can say it. And this one looks like it could be much better. Really excited for this one. The only other thing I had to say about it is to check it out yourself if you're interested at all. Especially if you played the first Watch Dogs, watch this one. And in my opinion, just kind of the way the characters talk, just how they act, just the whole style of it. And see if you agree with me or not. I think this one just fits the whole world of Watch Dogs better. PS4 gets DLC 30 days early, which that's one of the trends. This one of the kind of upcoming trends that I talked about last in the Microsoft analysis that I did. After that, there is one more thing that they had to show, and this was quintessential Ubisoft as well. They like to show off either a new IP or something like that. It's typically a new IP, and they do that again this December. There's going to be a game called Steep. It's about action sports on a mountain, so like gliding, snowboarding, skiing, that. And there's challenges that you do. There's a point multiplier system. As you do tricks, you get more points. They call it Mountain View, which it's a quick travel system. That's what it is. Could be fun. There's a GoPro camera view that you can go into. So like first person camera view. And that's pretty cool. The thing that it kind of reminded me of was like Burnout. So maybe it's like Burnout, except you're skiing and stuff, like on a mountain, and not wrecking other people, but just like the whole like doing tricks and stuff in Burnout. Kind of reminded me of that. Kind of reminded me of maybe SSX way back in the day, like doing tricks, trying to get points. Something like that. Check it out if that sounds interesting to you at all, because I'm not doing a very good job describing Steep. You can do like I said, you can do challenges, but you can also just like ski your own line is the only way that I could put it, like they did. Ski your own line. Take your own route, basically, and then challenge your friends and say, hey, can you do this route that I just did faster than me? Or like, can you make this jump? Can you do this? It's one of those type of games. And like I said, check out Steep. And they've shown off some gameplay and talked about the game quite a bit. It comes out this December, and it looks like it could be fun in that, hey, can you do this better than me? Challenging your friends kind of way. That does it for the Ubisoft press conference. Let me know what you think, and if you enjoyed me going over the games and giving my opinions and what I thought, please click the like button below. It just takes a few seconds to do that, and lets me know that you all are interested and do like this, that I took the time to do all this, took a lot of notes as best I could, because the press conference doesn't stop, it just keeps going. And just giving you my initial reactions while I was sitting down, watching the press conferences, and my analysis of what I saw. Second to last, at the end of the day after Ubisoft, was Sony. They ended Monday, and I will be going over them next time. Until then, I'm Cendril89. Remember to shoot for the stars, and take care, everyone.